Hello again, it's Mohammed Arif here, and I'm continuing my series of impact of poor leaders on people and productivity. In my last video, I talked about some of the signs and symptoms to look out for to give you an idea of how well or how badly a team is being led by a manager. And today I want to explore how we got to this point, to a point where in some surveys, up to 80% of people are saying that they left their job because of poor management. How we got here. And I want to do this by sharing with you a real life case study from within the pharmaceutical company. And we're not talking about a Mickey Mouse company. This was a global multinational company. And hopefully that will give you an insight into some of the problems that we're seeing within management today. Now, this study involves Alex, not his real name. And let me give you a bit of background to Alex. Alex joined this company 2 years ago. He joined as a trainee sales representative, so he was completely new, his first job after graduation. He was recruited by a lady called Annabelle, who herself, within 2 years, had a meteoric rise within the company. She had now was holding a position as part of the senior leadership team where she was managing other managers. So she's the lady that recruited Alex. And when did he have his last promotion? Within 6 months of joining the company, Alex was promoted from a trainee sales representative into a key account manager. Now, any of you that know about the sales environment will know that that is a huge jump, because a key account manager is a very complex role, because you're dealing with multiple stakeholders that have different needs, different priorities, and your overall responsibility for the size of the business is much, much bigger. And to give you an idea, as a rule of thumb, usually it would take minimum 2 years, probably around about 4 years before someone can move from a trainee representative into a key account manager role. Now, and that is dependent on your performance. So Alex was promoted within 6 months joining the company by Annabelle. And so one would ask, well, was he performing exceptionally? He must have been an outstanding performer, which is why this exceptional case and decision was made. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. In the 2 years Alex had been with the company, his performance was consistently within the bottom 20%. And we're talking about sales here, which isn't difficult to objectively measure. You're either delivering sales or you're not. So Alex, unfortunately, was unable to bring in the business for the company. So he was failing in his day job. And as a consequence, his 6 months performance ranking, his latest performance ranking by his line manager, was that he is underachieving. He's not actually meeting the goals. Unfortunately for that line manager, he reported into Annabelle. And when Annabelle saw what he was proposing to rate Alex, she intervened directly and said, no, his performance rating should be changed from underachieving to overachieving. And Alex's aspirations were within the company that I want to be a sales manager, a team leader. So an opportunity came up within Annabelle's team for a management role. A number of candidates from different teams applied, and quite a few of them were very experienced, high-performing individuals that have done quite a bit of outside, over and above the call of duty roles as well within their team, which is why their managers felt that they've earned the right to be promoted into the next role. In Alex's case, when Annabelle was asked, well, you know, this kid is only been here 2 years, has he got the capabilities to do a complex role such as people leadership? And Annabelle's response was simply that I think Alex is very, very talented. And that was it. She didn't provide any evidence to substantiate on that. So let's move now to the assessment center. So Alex, along with a number of other of his colleagues from the company, attended the assessment center. Just top line, if you don't know about management assessment centers, they're all pretty consistent. They're very, very similar in terms of structure. So what you have, essentially, you'll have a business presentation to make. Normally you get given the data and the insights, details beforehand. So on the day you present, and usually the title will be, this is what I will do in my first 100 days as a manager. So that's one exercise. The second element of a management assessment center is the competency-based interview, which is essentially looking at leadership capabilities, and you'll be asked situational questions. Can you think of a situation where X, Y, and Z? And the third element is a coaching role play, which generally is you'll get a case where a member of your team who's been a really top performer in the past, but the last 6 to 12 months their performance has dipped, and your job is to understand what the underlying reasons are and develop a plan to turn this performance around of what was once a top performing individual within the team. So those are the three exercises essentially you get given in an assessment center. So in terms of a quick word on pre-work, most of the candidates that were attending this assessment center put quite a bit of effort into preparing for this assessment center, which included that the detailed study of the leadership capabilities, i.e. what sort of behaviors are required for a leadership role. They also spoke to other people and that had been recently appointed into a management role and got their feedback in terms of what is entailed and what they're looking for. Alex, on the other hand, in terms of his pre-work, was simply a one-to-one with Annabelle. And Annabelle walked him through the structure of the assessment center, what will be entailed, what they're looking for, and she also walked him through the role play, rather coached him through the role play. This is how to do it, because she knew that he hasn't dealt with people, certainly not mentored or coached anyone before, so she gave him the inside track on what to expect on that one as well. So, despite all of that, unfortunately for Alex, he failed the assessment center. And because Annabelle had already made up her mind as to who she wanted, the other candidates also failed the assessment center. And every other candidate was told that here's your development plan, these are the gaps in where you currently are and where you need to be as a manager, and go and work on them, with the caveat that we recommend that you don't apply for a similar role for at least 12 months, because this is how long it's going to take for you to address these gaps that have been highlighted in this assessment center. As far as Alex is concerned, that wasn't the case. The message to Alex was that the final decision is going to be Annabelle's. Now, Alex's reaction, bearing in mind his history and how he has been treated and how he has been pampered within the company ever since joining, he didn't take it well. He threw his toys out in the pram, accused the assessors of deliberately trying to stitch him up and make things difficult for him, and he's made his feelings known to everyone that he talked to, including Annabelle. So what happened next then? For every other candidate, nothing changed. They went away and they were told you need to develop and work on your gaps before you can apply for the job again, a similar job again. For Alex, Annabelle insisted another assessment center is put in within 2 weeks of Alex failing his first assessment center, and this would be specifically for Alex, and this time Annabelle will be running the assessment center. And guess what? He passes the assessment center with flying colors. And not only that, within 2 weeks he was appointed as a sales manager. So what do we learn from this case study? And like I said, and remind you that it's a real life case study and it's not atypical. I have come across this on a number of occasions. So what have we learned? So we look at it in terms of the what, the how, and the why. So the what is quite obvious, hopefully, which is that Alex was appointed into a highly responsible position of leading other people, knowing full well that he's not ready for it. We saw deviation from normal practice, whereas every other candidate is told that you need to work on your gaps before you can apply for a role again. That wasn't the case with Alex. And we saw that Annabelle's unique intervention, specifically in Alex's case, which she didn't do for every other candidate that attended the assessment center. So how was this allowed to happen? I mean, first and foremost is, yes, it was allowed to happen because they allowed the hiring manager to directly intervene in recruitment process and overrule the decision of the assessors. It happened because the normal practice and abandonment of fair and standard practice by Annabelle to ensure that her choice candidate was accepted. It was allowed to happen because Annabelle point blank refused to accept that Alex is not ready for the role of a manager, and the gaps that have been highlighted are genuine and need to be considered, need to be addressed before he can apply for such a role.